Welcome to Network Marketing Pro. My name is Eric Worre, and I am here with Brandon and Lynette Cunningham. You guys are from where?
Florida.
Florida. Whereabouts in Florida?
Go ahead. Bradenton, Sarasota area.
Bradenton, Sarasota. Beautiful area.
Love it.
We were talking before we turned the cameras on. I rented a little house on an island down there for a month a couple years back. Had a great time. What a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Gorgeous.
We know that island well.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you guys are people also on the verge of $1 million a year in network marketing. And how long have you been involved in the profession?
6 years.
6 years. Mm-hmm. And tell me, do you guys work the business together?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
Prior to network marketing, tell me your adventure prior. Whoever wants to start, what were you doing prior to getting involved in this profession of network marketing?
Yes, sir. We got married young, really young. She was 18.
18.
I was barely 21. So right away, I worked for her dad for a little bit when I first moved in from New Orleans to Florida. And we bought a business, and that business was in metal refinishing. A lot of people.
You bought a business at 21?
We did.
How did you do that?
The guy that had the business really didn't want it anymore. So it was an easy, he was kind of like, just take this thing. And so we gave him a little bit of money and we took it.
Okay.
And we made a success out of it. And from there it went to...
What kind of a business was it?
Metal refinishing. We spent a lot of time, Eric, in elevators.
Polishing brass.
Wow. Okay, so that's what you mean by metal refinishing, polishing brass.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a brass polishing, hotel-oriented type
Keep it
of
looking,
office building.
Keep it looking tight, and when people put graffiti in it, they really needed us.
Ah, okay. So you started off as entrepreneurial. Were you always entrepreneurially minded, both of you?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that starts really young? Do you think you're born with it, or do you think people can become entrepreneurs?
I
What's your opinion?
wouldn't say you're born with it. It has a lot with your upbringing. I spent a lot of summers, our family had real estate, rental properties. I spent a lot of summers cleaning gutters and sweeping out rental properties. And so I thought it was so cool that we would show up and they would just get cash. That's all I knew. They were paying their rent, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. That's what I want to do. I want to collect cash. And so I knew I wanted to be my own boss.
How about you?
My dad was a general contractor. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I don't know, I think watching my mom always ready to help my dad with whatever it is he needed, if it was a construction project or whatever, always hands-on. Mm-hmm. When I married Brandon, I kind of had that mindset that I don't mind getting dirty. I just, whatever has to get done, will get done. Mm-hmm. And so we bought that company, and I started working with them. Eventually we got employees, but when the employees didn't show up, I was on the job polishing brass.
Doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I think some people believe you're absolutely born an entrepreneur or not. I don't tend to believe that because, or even the upbringing types of things. I think people can learn entrepreneurship, but it is a different kind of mindset versus an employee mindset, right?
Right.
Because you see somebody who grows up in a blue-collar family, not an entrepreneurial family at all, but they say, you know what, I don't want to be like this. I want to be an entrepreneur. And then you see somebody who grows up in an entrepreneurial family say, you know what, I don't want to do this. I just want to be an employee. So people go in different directions. But I believe that if people are willing to open their minds and look at something different and maybe experience a different kind of pain. Yep. There's the pain of being employed, and then there's the pain of being self-employed. Mm-hmm. Both are painful. It's just which pain do you prefer, right?
Choose your hard.
Yeah, they're both hard. Which one would you rather have? So in your 20s, what you go through this? Is that the only business that you had? Or did that grow from there?
No, I love real estate. Mm-hmm. I still have an affection for it, even though it scarred me in 2009, scarred both of us in 2009, which it plays a large role in our network marketing story. But we got in the car business, and that was a phenomenal business. Bought a franchise that was kind of the mother franchise, and we franchised that out.
What kind of car business?
It was a service-oriented business. So when the dealerships would buy their cars, clean them up, get them as good as they could get them to look, they would turn them over to our company to take them from, as good as you could possibly. So paint repairs and interior repairs and dents and all that stuff. It was a service.
Super detailing.
Yeah, it was, it was to make a used car look new. And then they could make more money. So they, invest a few $100 with us per car, and that would be a several $1,000 return for the dealership. And we franchised that out. We had 17 really quick all over the country.
Wow. And this is all happening in your 20s?
No, that was later. That was in our 30s.
Okay.
Maybe 30. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of being wheeler dealer, big shot entrepreneurs. People in town know who you are.
I just think that we've always kind of been open-minded to something that made good business sense. So it's not necessarily that we were looking for different things, but as they come along, if it made sense, we go, well, why wouldn't we do that?
Right.
So, yeah.
And the metal business was great, but it came with night hours. You can't do that stuff in the middle of the day.
Sure.
It came with night hours. It came with really tough chemicals, and it's hard to keep good people when it's night hours and chemicals, so it was employee turnover and that whole deal. And this deal with the car business just came at the right time. Some people wanted to move back to California, and they wanted to sell their business. And I went out and rode with them for a day to see the business, and I thought, man, we could make a lot of money because he's not working hard.
And then
he's only working a little.
Yeah, so you worked hard, and then you also experienced a little bit of leverage. You got a little taste of leverage with the franchising piece.
Sure.
And all along, we were buying real estate.
Yeah.
Every bit of money we were making in those businesses, we were buying real estate and then turning that money over. Because real estate, I mean, I'm a Robert Kiyosaki guy, right?
Yeah.
I Rich Dad, Poor Dad changed me.
Yeah.
And so real estate was it for us. That was going to be our residual.
When did you really start with real estate investment?
97.
97.
97. So from 97 to 2008, you guys built up a big portfolio. I have a lot of friends who did the same.
Yeah.
I mean, on a big level.
Yeah.
What everybody thought, what was kind of the true thing in real estate, so long as you were diversified
Right.
in real estate, well, apartments might be down, but then commercial real estate is going to be up, and that might be down, but land is going to be up, or some aspect of it was going to. As long as you're diversified, you're okay. But when it all went smash, when it all went down, and there was no buyers, and all the the capital whatever calls from the banks and the changing of the deals and.
Ugly.
Yeah, I had a very good friend of mine. He was worth about 150 million, and lost it all. Just boom, 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 over the course of 2 years.
That plays into our story here.
Yeah. So tell me what happened there. You built up a little bit of a.
We were doing good. We were doing good. The car business was rocking. We were making more money than we'd ever made in 2009. And we had, from the outside looking in, we had what everybody would want. Like we went on a couple vacations a year to the mountains and to the Caribbean, the kids, the house. We lived within our means.
Sure.
It's kind of a philosophy of our family. But 2009 comes around and things are crashing financially. And so ironically, our car business started to thrive because it ran all the competition out of Florida.
Sure.
The downside of that is I went from working a small area to working almost the entire state of Florida.
Wow.
So I went from working 6 hours a day, kind of on my schedule because of the employees and whatnot, to working all the hours. And we had a new baby in the house, and we had all this real estate that was either vacant or, people kind of, even though money's not coming in, the bank still wanted their money, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so that's when she got the call about this industry.
Oh, well, tell me what happened. Did it all fall to the floor? Did all the cards fall to the floor? Were you able to hold on to some?
We were able, as you said, diversified. Our strategy was a little
Could you ride it out because of the cash flow of your entrepreneurial business? You could ride out the real estate
we
piece?
didn't, no bankruptcies, no foreclosures. A couple years ago, we wrote a check for $80,000 just to get rid of a house.
Yep.
And so this morning in the hotel, I was signing a document to sell one of the houses from 2007.
Wow.
So we're still cleaning house from 2007.
Sure.
But we're beyond the financial pressure of that. But
good thing you had some cash flow. Back
Absolutely.
it'd have been disastrous.
You're right through, and then you get a call.
Yeah.
And now you've got to be, most people when they're in that kind of crisis, they are focused on cleaning up the real estate. They're focused on bringing in the cash. They're not open to new opportunity, especially when. Yeah,
He wasn't.
Yeah, especially when you bring this to him, you get this call, you bring it to him. He's got to be saying, "Sweetheart, are you crazy?
Except for in a different tone.
We got all we can eat here. We are paddling as fast as we can."
My exact words was, "You go have fun with that. I'm going to take care of the real bills."
Yeah. Daddy's going to go take care. He's going to
You go have fun with that hobby.
I'm going to go bring home the bacon.
I'm going to take care of my bacon because it's frying right
Yeah,
now.
right. So anyway, you get a call, and somebody thinks, "Hey, you might be good at this."
Yeah.
So they give you a call.
Yeah, and so basically, Brandon and I were very uneducated on the industry.
Sure.
And for that reason, wanted nothing to do with it. Very misinformed is what I.
This is beneath us.
That's exactly what our mindset was. So anyway, his cousin calls me, tells me she wants us to look at this together, which that was genius for her to do.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I perceived that it was network marketing, and so I was like, what is she doing? I don't want anything to do with this. But I respected her. I was like, out of respect, I'll look at it. And something was there that I was like, this may be something. But I didn't want to move forward on getting information without him because we ran all our businesses together. So I stayed on him. I stayed on him for weeks to look at this with me.
4.
Yeah. And then we looked at it, and honestly, we ended up getting on a 3-way phone call, hour and a half of firing questions.
She hit me over the head with a 2x4 one day. So
Well,
I come home from work.
Yeah.
And it was a bad day.
Yeah.
And I was not talking to my wife the way I should probably be talking to my wife, taking all that pressure into the house. And she just said, nothing's going to change unless we change something. When are you going to watch that video?
Yeah. So
Good for you.
he said, okay.
Good
He's
for
like,
you.
you're right. And
You know what's funny? Some people won't talk to what they perceive as successful people because they prejudge them. They think, well, they're too good for this, they're too cool for this, they're making too much money. Most people, you probably did a decent job of keeping up the face of your life, so people didn't know you were frantic.
Right.
Well, we were making more money.
Yeah, I get it.
It was all the
pressure.
things
He
that
just
came
wasn't
with it.
happy.
The
The money was
mad.
there,
Yeah,
but he wasn't
getting
happy.
mad and it's embarrassing, and this isn't where I wanted to be, and you're replaying things decisions you've made yesterday, and all these different kinds of things. But there's something about an entrepreneur, and the encouragement that I try to give people is always talk to an entrepreneur, always, because number one, you don't know what's going on. Number two, entrepreneurs are addicted to cash flow, and number three, an entrepreneur can't look at any business, doesn't matter what it is, any business, without their mind going, well, I wonder if I did this, and
We love business.
These people look like like amateurs, and maybe if I come in and I really clean it up, and I wonder. Entrepreneurs can't walk into a stadium without counting the seats and wondering what they're selling the tickets for.
Right.
We can't do it.
Right.
We don't know how. We would look at every single environment and say, "Oh, what does this cost? And how many people are paying? And where are the customers? And everything else." So so my encouragement is for people out there that know entrepreneurs, they need to show them network marketing. Because if they'll get them to look, like it took a while for you to look, if they'll get them to look, then most of the work's done, because their imagination will kick into gear and they'll start wondering, well, I wonder, what if?
Absolutely.
And is that what happened when you finally took a look?
Yeah, as soon as I saw this video, there was a little bit of a personal connection with the product that was in the video, and I'm like, well, she told me you're going to take this product. So it had an appeal to me, and I just thought, well, if I'm going to take it, and it looks pretty legitimate, I bet a lot of people would probably
Your imagination starts
exactly what
kicking
you were
into
just
gear.
saying, and then they told me a little bit more, and I'm like, there may be something here, and that's when I said, you go do this, and I'm gonna
I'm gonna focus on this. It's bringing in dollars right now.
But let's see what this is.
Yeah. So you lead the charge.
To some extent, he says that, but it was. I mean, I think
he couldn't keep out.
Honestly, we both were very much thinking that this was just going to be like, we'll see, we'll see. Like the risk was minimal. We'll see how it goes. But we did together start educating ourselves immediately on the industry and on our company. And as we got more educated, we're like, there's some real potential here.
Right.
And we're both very competitive.
Yep.
So we kind of
They start showing you this rank system, and you go, I'm gonna kill this rank system.
Ooh,
it's like your kids leveling up in Minecraft or whatever it happens to be. It's like, wait, there's a level up program? Wait, there's a trip?
Well, the cool thing is that we made like this little competitive thing, like we were gonna make a certain amount of exposures a day each, and then we would compete, like I did mine, did you do yours? Not even knowing, hey, we were accountability partners. That was awesome. But it really, because of our nature, that got us through the first few weeks where we doubted the industry, where we doubted the true potential that was here. And because we were able to get through that, we eventually understood this is a big deal that we've got our hands on, and we need to focus our efforts here.
So at the beginning, activity helped you build some belief.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was 2 events. We drove 4 hours one way for our first meeting. There were no meetings where we were, and I love that fact because if you're gonna survive, you got to make it happen. And so we drove 4 hours to this meeting, and there was about 100 people in the room, and I'm like, oh, this is for real. And then I had fear of loss. I'm like, these people know about it also,
and they're a little bit ahead of me,
and they're ahead of us. And then a few weeks later, we flew out to our very first corporate event, and that's where we saw it on a bigger scale.
Yep.
And we realized that this industry's not is what we thought it was. And
what were your biggest misconceptions?
You had to sell things to your friends and family. That was my misconception. Like that was it. That was your basis. It was sales and selling things to your friends and family, and I wanted nothing to do with that.
And what did you find what was the reality that you found after you got involved?
Well, for me, I know within a couple months' time, I believed enough in our products that I felt a moral obligation to share it with people. Then as we started having success in the business, I felt a moral obligation to share the business with people. So they were like, it was building blocks.
But it wasn't hardcore sales, and it wasn't
not at all. It was a matter really of
relationships.
helping people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it can do this for me, what can it do for you? And not just the product, but the business.
Right.
Like it's twofold.
Right.
We can make big changes here if you want change. And so you make these steps and you start realizing you can really make a difference in other people's lives, and that's addictive.
Yeah.
It's addictive.
What was a misconception for you?
Well, similar to what she was, it was, you hear the whole scheme thing, like it's all like illegal, right? But I knew there were companies that had been around for a long time. I didn't know anybody personally. I knew a lot of talented people that tried to get me in their company. And 6 months later, a year later, I would check in with them, and they were no longer doing that.
Right.
And I just thought, waste of time.
Yeah.
2009, Eric, we didn't have time to waste.
Right.
There was zero time to
run.
waste. Time was so valuable in 2009, and so I didn't want to risk losing that time to fix the things that were going on, and I had no idea the money that was being made in the industry. And so those were some of the misconceptions.
A lot of people think this is like kind of the last chance saloon,
Right.
The bar at the end of the street.
And we went through that.
This is where you go and you have nothing else to do,
Right.
I know some unemployed people. Maybe they'd be interested in network marketing.
I thought network marketing was for people who couldn't get a job, couldn't create money, and had spare time. And so the misconception thing for me is one of my favorite topics because of us being so kind of new to the industry, because I see people going through this personal battle themselves. And at the beginning, when they don't believe in themselves and they don't believe in the industry, all they do is sell product because that's the easy way out. It's the path of least resistance. But once people have belief in the industry, and slowly that builds in themselves, but mainly the industry, And I was telling you earlier, that's what I'm so incredibly appreciative for what you're doing, is building belief in the industry. That's when it changed for us. Because at the beginning, I was hiding behind the product. The last thing I wanted my friends to know, because remember, on the outside, things were good. The last thing I wanted my friends to know is I was selling these products, right? And I didn't know how to introduce it to them so that they wouldn't feel that way.
Right.
So I forced myself to learn the industry. I would spend hours researching the industry. And weekly, daily, I was having these moments where, whoa, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. And so then slowly, that became my conversation. Not necessarily the product, but the industry. And it still is today. When I talk to people today, I'll answer any questions they have about our opportunity. But I love talking about where they're at in life and matching that with our industry.
You know what I'd like to talk about too, in addition to that? It's kind of interesting. If you talk to people about entrepreneurship, the value of being an entrepreneur, and then what are their options? And encouraging people to be an entrepreneur, either here or someplace else. And if you want to do this, or this is an option that maybe you should explore if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. It gets people to kind of look in a different way. It's like, oh, maybe I should be. Because that's really the question you're asking, is do you want to be in business for yourself, or do you want to be employed and pretend that you have security? I mean, that's really the question. So there are a lot of people, you started 6 years ago, approximately, yeah? And 6 years later, you're on the verge of $1 million a year in income. Now, it's different. The $1 million a year that you're earning here is a little different than you're earning in another business, because there's almost no expense
No employees
attached to it. No employees, no overhead. You can do it out of your house, whatever. What made you different than other people that started at the same time you did and aren't making what you're earning right now? It wasn't luck.
Go for it. I'll follow.
Well, I don't know. We have a very strong work ethic.
So you work hard.
Our goal was never driven. The paycheck was not our driving force. The winner's circle was our driving force. So the top rank in our company was our driving force because of our nature. That's just who we are. When we do something, we want to do it.
You want to compete. You want to get out there. You want to win.
That's it.
And the good thing about winning in this profession is you can't win by hurting other people. You can only win by helping other people.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's a good way to keep score. So you're competitive. So you worked hard. Right. And you're competitive.
Right.
Yeah?
And outside of that, we were very consistent in what we did. One thing that we've always told our team and implemented is we've never asked them to do what we weren't willing to do. So we felt very strongly that we had to lead with example every step of the way. So that meant we had to be the ones out front running and working and at the meetings and at the trainings and doing the trainings, and always, I've always told our team, or we've always told our team, you're the pace car. So we set a fast pace and never asked them to do something we wouldn't do. And that was kind of a mindset and philosophy during the course of building our business.
So let me see if I can summarize what you talked about as far as attributes. One is hard work, right? You're not afraid of hard work. You weren't prior. That's kind of part of your DNA. You're willing to work hard and you enjoy it. You enjoy the process. Number two is competition. Wanting to get that rank, getting that inner circle, competing with each other, competing with yourselves, competing with others. The byproduct of that is your paycheck is a reflection of how many people you're helping. So it's a competition of who can help the most, not who can hurt the most. Three is consistency. You're just consistent on a regular basis. You didn't deviate off of that consistent effort. Four, constant learning.
Every day.
Being addicted to learning on a regular basis. And five, what was five?
Not asking your team to do what you're not willing to do.
Not asking you, leading by example. Those are the five. How about you? Do you have any other things that you think separate what you guys have done versus what you've seen other people do?
Well, for us, I know one of the things that I've observed is far too many people are too concerned with what other people think. And that was one thing from the very beginning that we realized we just have to block that out. Because I've observed too many people that will absolutely stop in their tracks when someone tells them no or something nasty, when they're less educated. And I had some experiences early on that I used as fuel. They were ugly, like they were humbling. I had
Tell me about one. Give me details.
A vivid one. I had a real estate agent that I made this guy so much money. I would just call him, Eric. He wouldn't even leave his office. I would call him and say, I want this house. Just do the deal. And he would make money. So I just knew. I mean, he was at one of the top on my list. This guy's joining me. I've made him so much money. So we go to lunch and we sit down and I kind of roll this thing out. And he says, that sounds like MLM. I go, it is. He goes, oh, I'd never do multi-level marketing. He goes, I'm surprised you're doing network marketing. Kind of look, and so I'm sinking in my chair, and he goes, then he leans in, and he goes, are things that bad for you? Oh, I use that for fuel forever. I still use it for fuel because I can't wait to see that guy one of these days. Not that I wish any bad on him, but I should give him a thank you card.
Thank you, yeah, absolutely. He did you a favor.
And so I tell people all the time, listen, if you've just been to one meeting or one presentation where 20 or 30 minutes is shared with you about this particular opportunity, there is no one in your database that should change your mind about that opportunity because you're more educated than they are. And if people would just get that one thing, that they're allowing people that know less than them about an opportunity dictate the outcome of their life. And that was one of the things for us early on is I didn't use those moments to cower. Yeah. We use those moments as fuel.
Yeah, fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
Some people would shrink from it. And I had the same exact thing happen. I mean, very early. And a guy made me mad. One of my mentors, one of my heroes, made me so mad. Shut me down so hardcore. And I was super depressed for like 10 minutes, but then I got mad.
Well, I was going to say, it's not to say that it doesn't make you second guess your decision. It's not to say it didn't knock us on our butt for a few days to where we're like, did we make a mistake? Are we doing the right thing?
Gravity feels like triple.
Halfway through the rank. We got halfway through the ranks of our company, and we were talking about not quitting, but really scaling it back.
Yeah.
I mean, we were, because at the beginning, it's a lot of work, and the money is
like
not equal
business.
to the work.
Right.
Like every business, only we were only used to linear income.
Yep.
We work a certain amount of hours, get paid a certain amount of money.
Right.
And we were putting in all the hours and weren't seeing the return. And we doubted whether this was going to be something we continued doing.
Right.
But like you said, still cold fact, right? It's.
Well, here's the proof. If you don't work, ask the typical question of anyone. Don't go to work don't work at all for the next 90 days.
Whatever.
And what's going to happen to your income?
Exactly.
So I'll ask you guys. If you don't work at all, you take 90 days and say, we're going to take some family time for 90 days. How much are you going to earn in those 90 days?
Same amount of money.
I mean, it's going to be more. It's going to be how much? How much a month approximately?
80,000-ish.
80,000-ish. So you make approximately $250,000 in the next 90 days not showing up.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Now, is that worth 6 years of effort? Is that worth rising to the top? Is that worth doing things that other people aren't willing to do? Is that worth the being shut down by that guy?
Yeah.
People got to ask that question. Now, are you guys typical? No, you're not typical. You're extraordinary. And people watching this, if they put in 6 years, they're not guaranteed that they're going to get what you've received. Right. I'd like to say all the time, not everyone will, but anyone can.
Right.
I mean, if you really decide.
We're just like anybody else, honestly. I mean, we've been through that. We played all those emotions. We're just like we are the people that are just looking at this thing just 6 years ago. Yeah. We've just been exposed to the most incredible industry in the world for the last 6 years. And so we just know what we know. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'd like you to do. I think that your story and all the advice in your story is awesome. But the people here watching this and listening to this online or whatever format that they're consuming this information, I know that they're grateful for hearing your story. But I'd like you to look into the camera And one at a time, whoever would like to go first can do that, and offer them some advice. What would you suggest for them? What would you wish for them? What would you encourage them to do as they go out there and try and make their way in this profession and go to where you are or beyond? What advice do you have for them?
Well, I think that in this industry, belief is such a big component. Belief in the industry, belief in your company, belief in yourself. Brandon and I came to the table with belief in ourselves. The other two we lacked. So we became educated until a point that we had that belief. Maybe you vary in some other way, but belief in all of those components is a must. So you've got to do what you've got to do to get that belief. If you don't have belief in yourself, get it. There's a ton of personal development things out there that will allow you to become the person that you want to become. But it starts with you and a decision that you make, and it has to be a decision. And once that decision's made, nothing can stop you from getting what you want to get. So know that that is in your hands. I love what Jim Rohn says, if you change, everything can change. So it starts with you, and if you're not happy with what you have, if you're not happy with the people that you're attracting, change. It's in your hands to do that.
And I would say, based on some of the things you just said too, is that this is a team effort. And the sooner you realize that this is, in order to advance in this industry, you have to help people. And the highest earners in this industry are no different than you. They've just helped more people for a longer period of time. But I will say, for every one of you, and for Lynette and I, it starts with a commitment. It starts with a commitment. And I tell people all the time, we are used to making commitments. People make a commitment when they buy a car or they buy a house. I call it residual bills. So you've made a commitment. Now you have a residual bill. Why? Because you needed the car, or you wanted the car. You needed the house, or you wanted the house. So you made a commitment. And if you go back on that commitment, they're going to take your house and take your car. It's gone. Okay, they don't care that it's hard to pay your bills. They don't care. What they care is you didn't pay the bill, so they're taking what you said you were going to pay for. Our industry is identical to that. If you want financial freedom, and more importantly, time freedom, which is to us the most valuable thing that we've received in this industry, it's a commitment. And if you break that commitment, they'll take your freedom. They'll take your time. So you know how to commit. Only you've committed to residual bills. It's time you commit to residual income and never look back.
Great advice. I want to thank both of you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you for sharing your thoughts, sharing your ideas, sharing your wisdom, sharing your story.
I have to say we are greatly appreciative of what you and your wife are doing. It is huge for us in this industry. I mean, it's a passion of mine to now teach people about this industry, but you're doing on a level that I look forward to doing maybe someday. But thank you, keep doing it. It's valuable to us.
Together we're doing some important work. I appreciate you both. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. I hope you got value for it. And if you did get value from this, make sure you share it with a friend, share it with somebody who will get some value from it. Like, comment, and move it around, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, our wish for all of you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional, that you decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we do have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.